Oh. Welcome to Meaningful Mornings. I recently was part of a workshop on religious bias. And in this workshop, what the presenter was sharing, our relationship with a religion, another religion, tends to be one of a single story, meaning we only know a perspective. And that essentially is a shortcut. It's a shortcut to the understanding of that religion, that religious person. And so one is practicing bias. In the language of Bhagavad Gita, that would be called following the path of Preya. Short-term thinking, speaking, acting. What we do in Meaningful Mornings is we try to impede this bias so that there's not a single story, but we have a comprehensive understanding of our religion, religious people. And this is all done through literacy or knowledge of the practices. What precedes that is the philosophy. In the language of Bhagavad Gita, that is following the path of Shreya. Long-term living, thinking, speaking, acting. As you continue to plan for our party, reflect for yourself. Are you becoming less biased? Are you living your life less from a single perspective? The initial verses of chapter 10, Sri Krishna is teaching Prince Arjuna, is teaching us that the outer world depends on consciousness. He follows that up by sharing the inner world depends on consciousness. In teaching this, Sri Krishna is really overtly teaching us what the purpose of our lives is. We're already depending on consciousness. When we know this, we feel free of stress, anxiety, dejection, actively depending on consciousness, making this one's purpose. That is called bhakti. In verse 5, the second line, bhavanti bhava bhutanam matta eva pritagvidaha. Bhavanti, expressed. What is expressed? Bhavaha, all of the thoughts that are shared in verse 4 and 5. Yesterday, I invested a lot in ahimsa, samata, tushti, carried over to tapa, dana, yasha, ayasha. Bhutanam, these characteristics make up creation. Every one of us is different. But what is the source of all of this? Matta eva. The source for all of this is me, that is Sri Krishna, or the word we've been using, consciousness. Pritag Vedaha, these are all differences. This is what makes each facet of creation unique. Completing this thought, diversity depends on unity. Our older son Vyasa is physically not well, so he woke up early and I was reading to him a book about planet Earth. And in this book, there's many rainbows that are shared. And every time he sees a rainbow, he looks at me and smiles because that's his favorite color. A rainbow is his favorite color. So now if we reflect on a rainbow comes from white light. The diversity depends on unity, correct? But that white light depends on a colorless light. Light doesn't have color. See how that diversity depends on unity? We experience this in the physical world. Can we be reflective enough to expand that to our relationships, our own personality? A practical way to do this. I'd shared this in our Practices to Perfection course. When you interact with a person's body only, meaning that's all you feel they are, naturally you're going to feel annoyed. Their hair is out of place, they have things in their teeth, their clothes are wrinkled. Like me right now. But if you can be a deeper personality where you can tune into their mind, you will be less annoyed by them and more enduring. The mind is more powerful. There's so many differences as we're learning. We endure those differences. We can feel our mind, we can feel their mind. If you can be a deeper person and tune into their intellect, you won't be annoyed by them. You won't even have to endure them. You will respect them. What they've done with their life, what they've done for you. Finally, though, and this is what we're training ourselves for, being annoyed, enduring, respecting is not enough. It is to tune into their spirit, or Sri Krishna, or unity, or oneness, so many words. That is when we will love people, animals, plants, stones. Until you feel that, you will not love people in how love is to be practiced. Sri Krishna continues. He's sharing the same thought, but now is presenting this from a Pauranic sense, a theological sense. Okay? Verse 6. Maharshaya sapta purve chatvaro manavastatha madbhava manasa jataha yesham loka imah prajaha. I'm going to go through the whole verse, both lines, first from a theological perspective. Try to reflect on this. If you can, good. If you can't, also good. Shri Krishna shares, the Sapta Maharishis, that is the 7 great seers. An example of this for us is Rishi Sanatana. Rishi Sanatana is the one who, in Chandogya Upanishad, teaches Rishi Narada, actually teaches is as if elder brother, Bhuma eva sukha, which means there is only joy in bigness. Those in our Upanishad course, I've referenced this many times. So the Sanata. Purve Chatvaraha, and the ancient 4. So you have the 7 great seers, you have the 4 ancients. Let me reorient this. I'm going to pause here. The order should actually go the ancient 4. The ancient 4 like the Sanat or the Sanat Kumaras. Next should come the 7 great seers. An example of a great seer for us is Rishi Atri. Those in our Vedanta and Bhagavata course, Rishi Atri is the father of Rishi Dattatreya. We're in that portion where he's learning from 24 facets of creation. Theological, okay? You get it? Good. If you don't, just listen. You have the ancient 4. You have the great 7. Tata, and then the Manavaha, which is the Manus. A Manu for us, for those in our Vedanta and Ramayana course, Bhagwan Rama's father was Manu. Raja Dasharatha originally was Manu. And his wife, Devi Shatarupa, who became Rani Kaushalya. All of these personalities, so you have the 4, you have the 7, you have the Manus, Manasa Jataha, they were born from my mind. That's why Madbhava, they're powerful, they have qualities like me. Then, Yesham, from them, Loka imaf prajaha, from them came the rest of creation. For us, coming back to Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagwan Narayana gives birth to Bhagwan Brahma, who gives birth to the rest of creation, creation that's far away, creation that's close by. How many of you have understood what I've talked about for the last 4 minutes by show of hands? Good. So you have this background. Divinity is in the details. Now let's make this philosophical. Purve Chatvaraha, the ancient 4, is our inner world or Andakarana. Our inner world is made up of our memory, mind, intellect, ego. Then the Maharishi Sapta, that is the great seers, which are 7 in number, that is our outer world, made up of the total gross elements. There are 5, Then the total mind, that's 6. And the total intellect, that's 7. So inner world, outer world. And then the manava, or manu, or human. The word man comes from human, which comes from manu. So what makes up a human? Their inner world and outer world. Manasa jataha, and all of this is born from the mind of Sri Krishna, which means all of this is founded on consciousness. Madbhava, and so has the power of consciousness. Yesham loka imah prajaha, and then there's a proliferation. So shared in a summary way. Shri Krishna is the cause. Our inner world, our outer world is the effect. And then what do the effects do? They create further effects. How many of you have understood what I've talked about over the past 4 minutes now? He's sharing in different ways. Depend on consciousness. How do you depend on it? Know more about it. Feel it. The closer you become to consciousness, the more you become like Sri Krishna. Cheerful, content. From inspiration to application. A recent application of yours was to research what the indigenous culture has done for you. And I was reading some of your reflections on our website. I expressed my appreciation to Dakshesh from Maryland, who was sharing how the indigenous culture has helped Hollywood be what it is. My appreciation to Ragini from North Carolina, who is sharing essentially the land acknowledgement for North Carolina State University, NC State. And if you read this on our website, there's so much openness in this land acknowledgement about the mistakes that have been committed. Lots of beautiful reflections. Your recent application was to plan our party. How is that going? Those who registered for our courses, and what's awesome about this, we have 485 students in our weekly courses. Just the courses. I'm not even talking about the communities like seeking culture, parenting culture, etc. Our registration this year was more comprehensive. Why? So we can be more connected. We can know each other more, to serve each other more. So please continue to plan our celebration. Your application for this morning, I want you to wear socks all day, and in your socks, put a small stone where you're not injured, but you're annoyed, okay? So wear socks, put a pebble in there, please don't hurt yourself. And reflect on why. Shanti, shanti, shanti. Be safe, be sound, be serene, be joy.